Hello, and thanks for joining today's webinar with Real Story Group. Exciting topic ahead of us, why most content AI initiatives stall. Certainly AI is top of mind for everyone these days, and my colleague Scott Simmons is going to take us through that presentation and gives you some things to think about and really take a look at how a fit map can help as you're looking through these different types of initiatives within your organization. My name is Scott Dill. I'm on the business development team here with Real Story Group. And as we get started, I do just want to mention real quick that these slides will be available to everyone after today's session. So keep an eye out for an email from our marketing team on these, and then a recording will be available to our subscribers in your subscriber library within the next couple of days. So also keep an eye out for that. I do, though, see a lot of new names on the list today, and just want to give you a quick overview of Real Story Group for those that are new to us or those that are just coming back to us after a few years. So we're a different type of analyst firm than you typically think of with some of the more sort of household names, if you will, right? We've been at this for 25 years now, and in that time, we've never, ever worked for the vendors we cover in any way, shape, or form. So as you'll see here, we don't speak at their conferences or consult them on their strategy. We, as far as we know, are the only analyst firm that sits exclusively on the buyer side of the table to help you determine what's going to be the right technology fit for what it is that you're trying to do. And that's really important because you want to get that unbiased, independent, sort of no BS approach to how you get advised on your MarTech strategy. And so that's the approach that we've taken for 25 years and that we will continue moving forward. So to get things started, I'm going to kick things over to Scott to roll through today's session. Scott?
Thank you, Scott. Keeping it nice and simple with the same name thing going on. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Today, we're going to talk about something that's becoming increasingly common across enterprises experimenting with generative AI for content. So the promise is real, right? Cheaper content, faster to production, more personalization, and greater scale. But many initiatives aren't failing outright. They're stalling. You have pilots, you have tools, you may even have enthusiastic adoption inside certain teams, but you're not producing durable, compounding business value. And what I want to argue today is this: the issue is not primarily model quality, it's not prompt engineering, it's not vendor selection. It's the absence of a structured way to decide where AI fits and where it doesn't in your content system. In the next 20 minutes, we'll discuss why these initiatives are failing today, how to define and score fitness, and how mapping fitness and value can jumpstart the promise. So let's start with the failure, or more accurately, the stall. What's it look like? Across industries, the pattern is remarkably consistent. Start with pilot purgatory. Teams run experiments, they generate impressive samples, they show before and after examples, but there is no shared criteria for deciding what should scale, what should stop, and what needs redesign. So pilots stay isolated, and scaling becomes a political instead of operational. Then there's content sprawl. So AI dramatically increases output volume. Drafts multiply, variants multiply, versions multiply, but most enterprises already struggle with metadata discipline, reuse, version control, and a single source of truth. So AI doesn't just create more content, it exposes content management weaknesses at scale. Cheap generation without structural discipline becomes expensive operational debt. Then there's workflow breakdown. AI changes the economics of creation, but not review. Review capacity collapses as volumes spike, ownership and accountability blur. Who's responsible for AI-assisted content? Who signs off on factual accuracy? Who owns tone drift? And workflows designed for scarcity cannot absorb abundance. When traceability is weak, when reviewers can't see sources, prompts, and constraints, trust declines. And once trust declines, velocity declines. Then there's elevated risk. as workflows strain, risk quietly escalates. Legal and compliance teams become bottlenecks, not because they resist AI, but because they are absorbing unstructured risk. AI-generated drafts can introduce unauthorized claims, disclosure failures, policy inconsistencies, and tone and positioning drift. And without clear lineage from input to approval, content becomes harder to defend after publication. This doesn't trigger dramatic failure, it just triggers caution, and caution slows down scale. Then leadership starts to question value. So eventually leadership asks, what are we actually getting? Teams can show output volume, but they struggle to show reduced cycle time, lower cost per finished asset, fewer compliance incidents, higher reuse, and conversions on performance lift. Benefits remain trapped in pilots. Costs rise, tools, review overhead, and rework. Without visible leverage, initiatives stall. These aren't 5 separate problems. They reinforce each other. Pilot purgatory fuels sprawl, sprawl breaks workflows, broken workflows elevate risk, and elevated risk slows publishing. And slow publishing obscure value. The common root cause? There's no shared framework for deciding where AI belongs in the content system. So the missing concept here we see as content fitness. So most organizations approach generative AI as a capability question. Which model are we going to use? Which tools are we going to use? Which vendors? Which prompts? Those matter, but they're not the first question you should be asking. The first question should be, is this content actually fit for AI? Content fitness is the degree to which content tasks can be assisted or automated by AI without breaking quality, trust, governance, or differentiation. It forces a shift from, can AI generate this, to, can we use AI here safely and repeatably at scale? Most teams jump straight into tools. Content fitness forces a pause to ask whether your organization can use AI safely and repeatably, not just generate something impressive. Without fitness clarity, teams expand into low-fit use cases. They hit friction and conclude AI doesn't work, but the issue wasn't the model, it was the selection logic. Today, to make fitness practical, you need a scorecard. We typically use 6 criteria. Constraint level, is the content templated, modular, structured, or is it just open narrative? Factual accuracy requirements. Does it require citation, regulatory precision, technical correctness? Brand sensitivity. Does tone drift materially impact trust? Regulatory and compliance exposure. Could this create unauthorized claims or legal exposure? Differentiation requirements. Is generic language acceptable, or is differentiation the actual point? And workflow readiness. Do you have governance, traceability, and review capacity? When cross-functional teams score these together, so marketing, content ops, brand, legal, something powerful happens. The conversation becomes operational, not AI is good or AI is risky, but this use case is high fitness, or this one is conditional. This one could have great value, but needs a process redesign before we touch it. So a content fit map. A fit map is a simple but powerful decision framework. It maps use cases across 2 dimensions. First, the value potential. So where could AI meaningfully move the needle? These are generally high volume areas or frequency or cost, high time sensitivity or high variation. But second, as we just discussed previously, fitness. Where can AI operate safely? Structured versus open-ended content, factual precision requirements, brand sensitivity, regulatory exposure, differentiation requirements, and workflow maturity. When you combine these, you get 3 clear outcomes. Content use cases that are high value and high fitness are perfect candidates for automation. AI can reliably produce content with minimum human intervention. high value, moderate fitness, these are things that we would say you need to augment. AI accelerates the work, but humans retain judgment and approval. And then there are the low fitness items, which we would classify as things to avoid. Applying generative AI introduces more risk than leverage. Avoid doesn't mean ban AI altogether. It often means using AI in a different way, maybe for analysis or summarization or QA or workflow support, but definitely not for authorship. The fit map turns debate into portfolio decisions. It prevents expansion into low fitness areas that create friction and stall momentum. Some patterns have emerged. So metadata, tagging, templated variants, we often see as things that should be automated. Drafting and repurposing are usually augmenting items. But things like crisis communications or regulated claims or even executive narrative are often things you want to avoid. But every organization is different, and your map will be unique. Although even if they all look the same, the teams going through an exercise like this builds consensus and a shared way of thinking. So 3 industry examples. Let's look at a few industry specific findings. So example 1, e-commerce. High value is obvious with a large product set, right? Scale and variation. So strong automation candidates, attribute-based descriptions, SEO metadata, alt text for images, and structured FAQs. But brand storytelling and differentiated editorial copy usually require augmentation or human control. The unlock here is a structured product data and approved terminology. B2B SaaS. So many teams start with blogs, but the bigger value is in systems. So campaign variants, nurture screen drafts, sales follow-ups, content summarization. Positioning documents and category narratives typically remain augmentation or avoid zones. A fit map prevents review overload and defining where drafts are welcome. And then lastly, regulatory industries. So here, risk tolerance shapes role design. So strong candidates might include internal summarizations, simple things like metadata, and translation of approved copy. Conditional candidates, things like customer education drafts grounded in approved sources so that we have the appropriate citations. Avoid new claims, advice language, and guarantee framing. But the fit map allows these organizations to say yes safely, so everyone's on the same page. So if you have any questions about anything I've discussed, please add them to the question section. But before we move to the answers, a quick recap. We covered why content AI initiatives stall, pilot purgatory, content sprawl, broken workflows, elevated legal and compliance risk, and leadership questioning value. The common thread is the lack of a clear decision framework. We introduced content fitness as the missing concept and the content AI fit map as a practical way to decide where to automate, augment, or avoid. If you do one thing after today, map your top 10 to 15 content use cases by value and fitness. The friction points and the leverage points will become immediately clear. If you're a council member and want to learn more about how this model could apply in your environment, feel free to reach out. If you're not currently a council member, you're also welcome to reach out for an initial discussion to see if this approach makes sense for your organization. With that, let's look at any questions you might have.
Yeah, Scott, and as those are coming in, I just want to remind folks you can ask those in the questions tab in your GoToWebinar control panel. Also want to mention that we do have another webinar coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about the future of CDPs. So that'll be on February 25th at 11 a.m. Eastern. So we're looking forward to that discussion. And as Scott mentioned, we do have a MarTech Leadership Council that meets every quarter. We have an exciting meeting coming up around taxonomy and metadata. in the AI world. And so if that's something you'd like to learn more about, you can reach out to either of us at the coordinates you see here, and we'd be happy to set up a time to talk with you more about that council, which is really an exciting group of MarTech leaders from across multiple industries. And we, like I said, get together 4 times per year and meet again later this month.
So first question from Gina, and Gina, thank you very much. My email address is screwed up to no end. It is realstorygroup.com. Thank you. Another question here from Don. You seem to mix kind of the term content type and content use case together. Can you talk about why that might be? And really, content types are very simple things that we look at from a structure perspective, like press releases or even the promos that might be putting out to Facebook. When we look at content in the AI world, we're really looking at the entire process of creation, right? So there's a use case that is needed to describe that the creation and maintenance of that content from beginning to end. And what you need to look at is there may be multiple steps in that process where generative AI and other forms of AI might fit. Let me see anything else. And I think that might be it. So again, thank you all for joining today. As I mentioned earlier, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We'd be happy to run you through more of the tool.
Great. Thanks everyone for attending, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care.